Hey guys, John here at learningguitarnow.com, and in this lesson I want to show you how to play a 12-bar blues solo only using the 5th position minor pentatonic scale in the key of A. I think it's a great exercise to just limit yourself to one position like this. I've done some these lessons in the past where you just use one position from the minor pentatonic scale. Maybe add a note or two here, but just stay in that little area and see if you can just milk it for all it's worth. It's just a great exercise because you have to know where your root notes are at for each chord that you're playing over the 12-bar blues. We're going to play this one in the key of A, so you need to know where A, D, and E notes are at, all in that position. And when you start to understand and memorize where your 1, 4, 5 notes are at in all the different positions of the minor pentatonic scale, you just become a better improviser, and you're going to understand more about where you can go all over the fretboard. To get the tone for this solo, I'm using a 1966 Vibrolux. It's cranked to about 7, using an IR through the computer to get the sound. Sounds something like this. I don't have any pedals or anything running, just straight through the amp. And like I said, I got an IR connected. We'll go ahead and take a look at the first couple of licks for free. And if you would like access to the entire lesson, as well as the interactive tab and backing track, check out the All Access Pass. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, now I'm going to break this solo down for you into 7 separate licks. We're only going to use the 5th position minor pentatonic scale in the key of A. I will, however, add the flat 5, the blues note, to one little section. So we have this, basically this, starting on our 17th fret of the high E. That little pattern right there. And so the first thing you got to know is where are the root notes of the key that we're in. Since we're playing in the key of A, where is your A note, or where are the A notes? So A note is on the 14th fret of the G string. A note is on the 17th fret of the high E string. And then we have another one right down here, 17th fret of the low. So it's very important that you know where all those A notes are at. So we'll go ahead and start out with lick number 1. It sounds like this. Okay, so that is lick number 1, just starting right on the first count, this 12/8 slow blues here. And so I'm raking to get to that note. A real gentle rake. I'm not going crazy with it. It's a low dynamic blues section, this 12 bars. So I'm just playing real easy. But that little rake gives a lot of expressiveness to a lick just by doing, just a real gentle rake. To that 14th fret, adding vibrato on the G string, our root note. Letting that hang for 6 counts. And then on the 7th count, we're going to bend up that 17th fret, that's our minor 3rd, and bend it up. Just kind of keep going and then cut it off. I think it's a great way to start a slow blues. That kind of vibe there. Just, a little rake, a little vibrato, real easy, and then that gradual type bend of that minor 3rd here. Okay, so the next section, it's going to move to the D chord for the next bar. And we're going to rest right on the first downbeat. So it goes 1, and then you go immediately to this lick. Really Clapton sounding. I'm not really sure if Clapton did any stuff using the 5th position minor pentatonic exactly like that, but it's got the style of Eric Clapton. So it's just a great little pattern to use. Sounds great over any slow blues with the 5th position minor pentatonic scale, this 14-17, 14-17. You can do a lot of cool things with that little area. love using that little pattern like that. I hear Warren Haynes doing a lot of stuff like that as well. So I'm just coming in right after the downbeat comes in. Then I go 17 on the D, 14 on the G, back to 17 on the D, and then not 14, 17. Now hammer on pull off. That's a quintessential Eric Clapton move. Is just play two notes, now hammer on and pull off them. If you want to play more like Eric Clapton, just practice doing that. You'll hear him doing that all over the place. For more information about Clapton, kind of stuff like that, check out my Play Like Clapton courses. Okay, so I got this. Now I'm just going to go back and forth with that flat 7 right here. That's your flat 7 interval. If you don't understand intervals, don't worry about it. If you want to learn more about that, check out my concept courses, Blues Guitar Method 1 and 2. But I'm just going back and forth between the 17, 14 and adding some vibrato. Just using that little pattern, you can get a lot of mileage out of. And then right before the 1 chord comes back in, the A, I'm doing this like Buddy Guy, Albert King thing. It sounds really cool. It's a lot easier for me to do this on the G string than it is on the B string in some areas. You know, if you were doing this, you have the same note right here. It could be harder, especially on the high E string. But I'm doing this 14, 17, just kind of bending it about 3 frets up and maybe even going higher if you feel like it. It's just a quintessential blues move. Okay, so that is it for lick 1. Okay, lick 2 sounds like this. Okay, so for lick number 2, I'm going to rake before I get to this. This is on the next bar, still on the 1 chord. And bend that 17th fret up to like the flat 7th sound, which is the same as 3 frets up. Now we're going to do it again. Bend it. And we're going to walk down the blues scale. That's where I'm adding the blues scale little note to the 5th position minor pentatonic scale. 17, 16. 16th note on the B string. Just walk down it. Now bend 17th fret on the G string. Pull it down. 14 on G, 17 on D. Now 14, 17, 14 on the G, 17 on the D. Now 14 twice. And that's lick 2. Using the same little pattern again. Except now we added this little section with it, you know, from this little piece. Except we added the blues scale. I love that little pattern. I use that all the time. So just a cool little area to play in the 5th position. A lot of people get lost. 5th position minor pentatonic. Don't know what to do because you can't do this. And that's usually just the springboard for almost everyone's licks. You know, for some people, they get stuck in, you know, there's nothing wrong with 1st position minor pentatonic. Let's get that straight. And this is a cool move. But you don't want to be limited just to that like area all the time, just doing. You know, just going in that little area all the time. So it's kind of a breath of fresh air to move to this type of a thing. I love doing that little move right there in the 5th position minor pentatonic scale. Okay, so that's it for lick 2. Okay, lick 3 sounds like this. Okay, so that is lick 3. Now, it's got an interesting little phrasing here for this section. So, we're playing over the D chord. And so, another thing you want to take note of, as I talk about in Blues Guitar Method 1, always know where the root note is of the chord that you're playing over. Since we're playing over the D chord, where is the D note in the 5th position minor pentatonic scale? I've gone over this a lot in Blues Guitar Method 1, like I was saying. So that's why I teach you that you should be memorizing where your 1, 4, and 5 are all over the fretboard. It makes it so much easier to improvise. So I know that is 15th fret right here on this B string is a D note. D note, D chord. Sounds cool when you play D note over D chord. Pretty simple concept, but this little phrasing right here sounds really cool because I'm going to bend that 17th fret of the G string and then hit that. Sounds really cool over this D chord and this 12-bar blues. So there's lots of different ways to think like that. I'm not going to make it too confusing, but just know that the 5th position sounds great for the 4 chord when you do this move. Just bending that 17th fret on the G string. Now I'm going to go 15, 17. But I'm only going to bend it slightly up a half step to that. If you think about it in terms of playing over a D chord, this note right here is a minor 3rd. You know, if you think about it over the D chord. At some point, you want to get away from just thinking about one scale over the whole chord progression and think about notes as they relate to the chord that you're playing them over. So once I go to the D chord, my mind shifts to how do these notes relate to each chord that in the 12-bar blues, and specifically what I'm playing over. So that's why I bent that, you know, to that minor 3rd sound. It just sounds cool. And it's not really the minor 3rd. It's kind of almost to it. And basically, I think it sounds cool. That's really the reason why I played it. You get that cool little position. And if you want to think about it in one other way, you can also think about this as like over the D chord, this is the B.B. King position, but I'm playing this. I didn't do this. I just made that little, this note to hit this note. So hopefully that doesn't confuse you too much, but if that's confusing, please review Blues Guitar Method 1 and 2. Talk about doing this kind of stuff. Playing to the chord is eventually what you want to get to. But just a really cool like lick right here. A great way to improvise that little section right here over your 4 chord. Okay, so that is it for lick 3. Okay, well, that does it for this podcast. Like I mentioned previously, if you would like access to the full lesson, the interactive tab, and backing track, check out the All Access Pass. All right, see you next time.